Hello there. This is Rom coming back at you with yet another, what do I call these? I'll say smartphone couch videos because when I do my other videos on the couch, I'm using a 4K camera. Anyway, another smartphone couch video. Lonely men. Now let me think about the title. The different worlds of lonely men and men with multiple women. That's a long one, and actually, because I was actually thinking about the title this morning, I knew what I was going to talk about, but I've talked about this several times. I've talked about this on my Patreons. Um, One of the things it's fascinated me ever since I brought out my book, Nice Guys and Players. Because one of the reasons I wrote it anyway was really to help the nice guys. Ironically, it was the players who primarily supported. Even to this day, I still get more support among the men who seemingly don't need the book or the work or the videos. Because even in the comments, I mostly co-sign more than somebody saying, oh man, that's some deep stuff. I'm learning something. You know? But it is what it is. But I've been thinking about because there's been talk about lonely men and the rise of lonely men, and the latest was something in Psychology Today by I guess he was a psychologist. I didn't look at it too closely, but and of course he said I saw a brief short of that dude, and he said he was getting some hate mail, and then of course there's been the talk about many men going sexless and all of that. And but then I contrast it with another world. I contrast it with the world of men who are getting multiple women. Multiple women. Now, all of them ain't like, good characters. And I can think of one instance. Let's just say F boys can have advanced degrees, medical degrees, law degrees, something like that. But and I'll leave it at that. But just the whole thing of just the two different worlds, and it really is. And I said it before, like even the world of the select and non-select, two different worlds. Because even with one world, and of course you got subgroups in both those worlds, but we'll just say in general, men who can routinely get women, even if it's just one woman, versus men who are lonely most of the time, and they might luck up on a woman every now and then who would be what I call an easy girl. And indeed, that's some of the arguments I get from some guys, because you get some guys saying, "Well, all women are like that. All women are this. All women are doing that." Yet the exact same women will be bringing like the men who get multiple women, plates and stuff, fighting for them. Shoot, even in situations where they the side piece and don't know it, they still, they were still there. I mean, it's just multiple cases, and it's amazing because you can have men from both those worlds be in the same location. And here's something deep because a lot of guys thinking, well, the men who get all the women, they look the best and they got money, they got height, they got all that stuff. And that's true for some of them. Notice I said some of them. But you got some lonely men, they may shoot. They lonely in a big old house. They driving a late model car. Shoot, they got money like crazy. And indeed, shoot, that's why many of those guys the ones who be traveling. That's why I always say, I mean, that's what you got to do it. But it's a real thing. It's like you get a lot of guys, or they get on message boards and stuff, and got everything to say about a woman. And actually, if you a man, the funny thing is, if you're that type of man who don't have problems, the biggest problems that you have is just managing them. I'm gonna get into that in a second. It's a totally different thing, and it's a totally different perspective. And indeed, I think that's a big reason why a lot of men couldn't get into, like, especially non-select nice guys couldn't get into my book. Just the concept of even being with a woman, or like it being easy, it's tough for them. It's tough for them. And I was just thinking about that. You know, it was just really. I don't know. I said I was going to get into something. I forgot what it was, but it's all the same general thing because, well, what was it about? Yo, yeah, just the guys who were supporting my books and everything. Because one of the things when I'm doing consultations, I say most of the time, most of my consultations are with guys who don't need help like that. Like just getting a woman, their biggest thing is just managing who they get and dealing with the issues there. Because, I mean, just to be clear, you can get a lot of women, but they're going to bring their own issues, just not the same. It's more of a management thing. Some drama when the woman realizes she ain't the only one, or some drama because she knows she fighting for that man, because that's one of the things. And like I was saying, also, ain't always the guys who like stereotypically, tall, handsome, look a certain way, or even you throw in the money and status. They definitely in there. But let's be real, you got some men who got multiple women and they hobosexuals. And if you see them, they're very average looking to everybody, even the women. But then they got about 6 baby mamas or something. They got 6 baby mamas, or they don't have that classic what some men will think a man needs. But they still interact with the woman. And a lot of it, really, honestly, it just comes down to just the mindset. It's just the mindset, the perspective, opportunities and stuff. And I would say this to the guys who are lonely: you could learn a lot from the guys who are getting women. And let's be clear, I know some people will say, well, I got this mental issue or this or that. You can still overcome it if it's that. But let's be real, most of the guys who are lonely, certifiably healthy mentally. Certified, they're not on a spectrum or anything like that. If it's someone on a spectrum, okay, you can get that. But then I'm aware of a young man who's definitely on the spectrum, and he's kept girlfriends since he was little. I told you, I know people out here, you know. Indeed, I've met men who identify as being on the spectrum, yet they married with children. So even with that, but I would say this: one of the things that many of the lonely men need to do is try to say, okay, what are these guys doing who are getting the women? Now you got to look at you can't just look at one, because let's be real, yeah, you're gonna get some scuzzy dudes out there getting multiple women, lying, cheating, and all of that. But the thing that you look at there is not so much that they're doing it, but what did they do to get the woman? Because it really wasn't a lie that got the woman. It wasn't a lie, because any man can lie. Any man can try. You get plenty of guys who are otherwise lonely, or they try the exact same things the guys who are winning with it get. So what's the difference? Now some people could say looks, that could be in there, or I would say it's not even so much as that, but it's attitude. It's the attitude. It's how they interacting with the woman. See, here's the thing. It all comes down to that, because I don't care what you got. It's all in how you interact. I've told the story before when it was a group of guys that came. We come together. We were working on a project, and one of the guys brought this dude who I think he was homeless, but he just looked. I ain't gonna, you know. Dude's head was all jacked up. At one point, we were going to our cars. This dude picked up a cigarette butt off the ground, and another dude was like the dude was very intelligent, but you were just looking at him like, what? And we went, we had a meeting. Then we went to a second meeting with a group of women. And I watched how he interacted with these women. This dude was in straight player mode. He went in there and he was talking to them. They were laughing. I was like, the same dude who had just picked something off the ground. And you got a lot of dudes out there, they don't have the standard look that, some men think they'll have. Definitely don't have the money or the status. Shit. And body game, these dudes can't afford to go. They living off of a woman. I was driving the other day. I told people on one of my private Patreons. One of my Patreons. It ain't quite private, but I told them. I was like driving. I was driving back from something, dropping my sons off with their mother, and got this dude, the woman, she driving the car. She kind of gave me a quick look over, just quick, but it had to be quick. There's a dude in the passenger seat. He just leaning back and stuff. Shoot, let's just be real. I see that a lot. You got some guys, because it's kind of fucked up in a way. Because I can understand how some guys are having some issues. See that shit too. Let's talk about it. Let's take. Trust me, I'm understanding that. I'm understanding why there's some issues there. Because think about it. It's one thing if you see a woman going crazy over some tall, handsome, good body build, professional, and everything. A guy can look at that and say, okay, yeah, he okay. I got money. I'm doing well, but he doing better. He got okay. But then when you that guy, you got a nice house, car. And then, you see some fine woman, or at least decent, got a decent face, body, I'm going to say above average face or body, because that's what I've seen a lot. The woman you be like, damn, girl. You be like this old thing from Bruh, man, on the 5th floor, be like, damn, girl. Be giving them that look and stuff. And then the guy getting into the passenger seat. Like, hold up. Be chilling. That happens a lot. And you be like, damn, hold up. What's up with this homosexual? Shoot. So you get some of those women moving the guy in, and I know a bunch of guys come with it, but the bottom line is they got some. Shoot, some men got a hustle. I personally know them. I ain't calling any names, but I personally know some guys. They can go years without having their own spot because they got so many women. And, they might not be considered the typical, guy people would think would get a bunch of women. But it comes down to, once again, it comes down to that mindset. And like I said, you see that, especially if you're a guy who's working hard and got the basics. Because let's be real, like these lonely guys, there's this stigma that the lonely guys are in the basements. And there's some truth for that. But then I think of this woman I knew. I think of this woman. Now, the guy in particular, he would be considered like kind of a handsome guy, according to the woman anyway. And she was messing with this dude, and he looked better than her. She said that, because she was kind of more of a plain Jane thing. And, she had other guys definitely interested in her, but she was messing with this dude. I was like, why he mess with you? She said, I'm easy and I bring beer. It's like, because I talk to the women too. You be talking to some women and they be like dealing with these men, and they know the dude don't got shit going on. They even will say the dude ain't shit, but he can stick that thing in. And really on a deeper level, all jokes aside, I said that in my book, Nice Guys and Players. I say it specifically. I said the only difference between a nice guy and a player is sex. If women thought nice guys were good at sex, they wouldn't be called nice guys. They'd be called Mr. Right. That's like the perfect man for women. In fact, when I was first selling my books, that was the many women bought it. Because the real premise of Nice Guys and Players is having the best traits of both. Having that, that good man, good responsible man could knock it out in a bedroom. If a man got that, trust me, he ain't alone. And of course, you do have some men who have those options with women who have it just like that. They have it just like that. I need to get Miss Mocha Asia to talk about this joint. I need to get her in here to talk about that. Shoot, y'all need to hear from a lady's point of view. Y'all need to hear from your auntie's point of view. So, but look, I'm going to tell you what, though. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm going to admit something. I don't have a concept of the lonely man's world. Because the only time in my life I've really been alone, no options at all. Well, shit. I can't think of it. I'm serious. I ain't trying to bullshit. Even when I was in high school and going to an all-male high school, I was cool with some of the women who would come up there to either be cheerleaders or that were in the school plays. So it was always an option. It was always an option, even if I wasn't dealing with the woman directly. It was always somebody there, always, or a group of women there. So it's hard to imagine. Seriously, it's got to be fucked up. Because even during periods where I wasn't bothering any woman, it was always voluntary. I would go into monk mode voluntarily. You know, so it's got to be fucked up. Seriously, it's got to be fucked up. And especially, and like I said, especially for the guys, because, like I said, there's that image that, guys having trouble in the basement or something. And yeah, you can go in on them. They try and you say, yeah, man, you need to get out your mom's basement. But just on the real, a lot of guys got money. At least enough to like live on and stuff. Shit. A lot of them got money. But still that lonely thing. They work hard, Where I lived, the last place I lived, there was a guy in there. He would just, go to work and come back. And a couple guys like that. Shit, one was about to be played though, because he contacted this guy and he did some annoying shit, so I don't mind talking about him. He was in contact with some women from overseas thinking he was going to get them over here for himself because he was just that lonely. So it's fucked up. It's a fucked up shit. But the thing I would say is this, because, I don't just talk about stuff. There's a solution. Figure out what the guys are doing. Now, you don't have to follow the player's example. You don't have to. Because, like I said, some of them are just... You get some of them who got multiple women. That's just who they are. They're gonna be chick magnets. No matter what they do, they're gonna attract women to them. That's something. I think it can be developed. I'm thinking, and I can think of the only examples I've seen of that were guys who had it in them anyway. So for somebody who don't have it, but that's a separate thing. And then of course you got the guys who go online and manipulate and all of that. They tell women the record's a lie, but then they had to have something for the woman to even be receptive to it, to even be in a position to hear the bullshit. But the guys I would say pay attention to, the guys who got you, if you happen to know any men that are in steady relationships with good women. Now, see, and that could be a problem too, because I was thinking about it, just in the Baltimore area. I know several men down in Baltimore who got very attractive women, and they're in solid relationships. All of them doing some shit. Every single one doing some shit, right? Just in the circles, Survive us. Somebody from Baltimore might know what I'm talking about. Survive us. A lot of them with that, and with certain Ifa temples. They doing their thing. I'll leave the clues out there. Like just personally, and it's like I ain't seen a lot of them, but just know them. And they got, they solid in relationships. They solid. So it's like, okay, what are they doing? Like if you in an area, like you around them, just pay attention. Like now, if you're not, now that's a problem. If you're not, that's a problem. I don't know what to say about that. But if you're in a position, okay, what they doing? Now, if you're not in position, think about it. Usually men like that are really what I talk about in my book, Nice Guys and Players, particularly the category of the real man. Because that's the thing. Yeah, I talk about Mr. Goodbar and stuff, but that's not the end of the story. Mr. Goodbar is a phase. Every man need to evolve out of that. And I've known plenty of men who, they want that player thing when they're young, but then as they got older and got really into their mission, they were chilled. I've known men who will go from 30 women a year to a few and then a one. And they were good with it. And, what is it that they did? They were just focused on what they were living their lives and finding a woman who could help them, who could be in cooperation to their operation, who could be complementary to them. But the main thing they did, they focused on themselves. And then how they dealt with the women, they dealt with a woman in a certain way. And one of the things, well, I'm gonna tell you what, one of the things they didn't have any overall animosity towards women. That's actually a major thing. You know, they ain't have like, you know, no matter what women did to them. Like I don't care. Even the guys who were totally selective had women do something to them, but they didn't focus on it. They learned from it. They say, "Oh, women like that. Let me learn from it." Like I said, I've been rejected, but I've never been rejected the same way twice. Because once you reject me one way, I was like, "Oh, okay, I know what to look for now." You get me another way, I know what to look for now. It, you know, you just simply don't worry about it. You know, learn from you like pay attention to those who are winning. Just pay attention to them. See what they're doing. See how, not just what they look like. See, some guys get too caught up in what those guys look like. Look at their interactions, how they interaction. And don't assume it's because of how they look. You know, how they talking. You know, how they talking to the woman, how they interact, how comfortable are they. Learn from that and then see how you can apply it to your own life. Now, don't try to be a mimic of what they're doing. It's not going to work for you like that. Because ultimately, every man got to learn for himself. And if you're really having trouble, and ultimately, if you a lonely man, ultimately you still gotta look in the mirror, you know? Because there was somebody on the video this morning, and I have no problem saying I blocked them because I don't like that energy talking about, oh, women reject them. 1,000,000 women reject them. You ain't dealt with 1,000,000 women. There's 4 billion women in the world. 4 billion. You did not deal with every single one. I don't care who the fuck you are. You did not deal with every single one, so you can't say all. Because how you deal with them, can you speak Mandarin? Can you speak one of the many languages in India? Can you speak Tree from Ghana? So you haven't dealt with every single woman. All you dealt with is your environment. You might have to expand your environment. I've talked about that before. You have to change, and ultimately, even then, you still got to change yourself. And you got to see, you got to pay attention. Because you got 100% control over yourself. You know, and like I say, you might have to move. There's no shame in that. You know, there's this big argument over passport bros and stuff. I was like, yeah, if you got to do it. If you got to do it, you know. You got to do what you got to do. But it's you. You got to ask yourself, you got to look in the mirror. If necessary, if it's a thing, it's bad to the point you need therapy, go ahead and get it. Go ahead and get it. You know, when Miss Angel was on here last week, Transformation Takes Time video, she talked about mental health. Seriously. Do whatever you got to do to get well, but understand, every single person has a possibility. Every single person, but they got to just deal with whatever's going on inside. And beyond that, you know, that's the best I can tell you. There's no magic, there's no tricks, anything like that. You know, just say if these men, I mean, and not just the men with money. Okay, tall, handsome, got money. Oh yeah, that's obvious. They're gonna get this, unless something's going on with them. But anytime you got some guys sitting in the passenger seat of a woman's car, leaning back in the thing and doing this, and not just have that, but multiple women. Oh yeah, shoot, that's the thing. You gotta ask yourself. Okay, what are they doing? Do they look like they get a modeling contract when you see them? Shit, let's just be real. Even some of these guys who talk about Pookie and Ray Rays don't all look like fashion models. Now somebody say, well, they doing that thug thing or something. Is it? It really ain't. It really ain't. I've talked to some women about it. It's about the attitude and how they carry themselves. And I've known some guys who would be called, you know, they would look like they nerdy or something like that. Still get. I've met some guys. I remember this one guy. I was at this seminar. I was at a relationship expo. We actually had a seminar by a tantra master managing multiple women. And you had some guys in there you wouldn't think on that player stuff talking about it. There was one guy, he looked like a total nerd, sounded like a total nerd, talking about his 2 women. And you can tell, if you around people, you can tell when somebody capping. And it's like, you listen to his tone of voice, how he talk. Like if you want to know somebody lying about something, just real quick, listen to their tone of voice, how they're looking at you, their body language, and everything was congruent with what he was saying. So you got other guys. Some of the biggest players don't look like it. Some men getting some good women don't look like what people think. But it's always in their interaction with the woman. So anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. All right. So anyway, but you got to be willing to work. So and I mean, look, I've look, like I said, all I can talk about is what I know. I can't even think of when. I'm like actually thinking hard. Because even during times when they like in the high school years, shit, I could still go to a party, be grinding up on a woman at the go. It's just it though. All right. So let me know what y'all think. All right, and I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.